welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you are new. So today in this video we are creating a card which is for the last day of the Suicide Prevention Week. So we're bringing awareness to people who are suffering from mental health issues and are at the stage where they're thinking of ending their life. So in my description you will find links to people and charities and organisations in the UK that you can contact, and it can be anonymous or you can tell them who you are. It's totally up to you. There's no pressure in it, and yeah, there's a lot of help out there. You're not alone in anything you feel, and just make sure that you're talking about everything. So the images I'm using are from Sweet November stamps. They are all digi, so the little girl is called Spring Fling Jilly, and then the trees and pathway are from the Spring is Back digi. So I will link them in my description for you. So my description won't have my products listed when this video goes up because obviously I only just filmed it last minute. But this week, for this last one, it is self-care, which is something a lot of us don't really do that much, and when we do, we don't necessarily think much of it. So personally for me, I got into a point where I was like, you know what, every Sunday I'm gonna have a self-care day where, you know, I do a face mask, I paint my nails, you know, I write down what I'm grateful for, I'll write a journal, all that. And quite frankly, I can do it for a couple of days, for a couple of weeks even, and eventually I just get bored of doing it and just thinking, you know, there's other things I could be doing that are prioritizing are more important. There is nothing more important than self-care, guys. Make sure you are putting the time into yourself, because honestly, self-care can come in many forms. So I have a little checklist that I do when I have those bad days. So the first thing I do is I drink one of my favorite beverages. So in summer I will pick obviously a cold drink that I like to drink, and then if it's colder weather then I go and drink one of my favorite hot beverages. Just doing something that you like will help. I used to like candles. I can't use candles in my bedroom anymore because I suffer from very sensitive heat skin. So anytime I light a candle or we have a heat wave or whatever it is, I suffer from having heat issues. So like my skin will flare just because of a heat thing. So it is kind of something that I struggle with a lot, but lighting candles with your favorite scents can help. So what I do now is I have a reed diffuser or a plug-in air freshener, but either way it has something that I like the smell of. Wearing comfy clothes, you know, not putting yourself in that place where you wear something that isn't necessarily comfortable for you. And this is something I do actually on a daily basis, is I don't dress up for anybody else. I dress up for myself, and quite frankly, I don't need anybody's approval on how I look. If I feel comfortable in it, that's all that matters to me. Then another thing I like to do is I like to get some fresh air. So I do tend to try and get outside for half hour to an hour. Sometimes I'll get more than that, sometimes I get less than that, but the times where I get more, I definitely notice a drastic change in my mood and stuff. So I highly recommend just getting out in the fresh air for a little bit. So another thing I like to do when I'm out walking is listening to music. So if I'm on my own, that's what I'll do. I'll plug my headphones in, listen to some of my favorite songs, because music is a great thing to help you get out of the moment and just relax your mind, and just, you know, take your mind away from everything that's happening around you. So that's another thing. Pamper yourself. So this is where I will do skincare like face masks. Like I said, I used to do it on a Sunday. I started doing it on a Friday because I feel like Friday is the end of the week and my body is a little bit more run down, where normally at the end of the weekend it's not that bad. So that's another thing I like to do. Talking or calling a good friend for a chat. So I'm actually really blessed with my mom because I see my mom near enough every day apart from Saturdays, but she is like my best friend, and I feel like we have a lot of really good conversations, and sometimes we'll have more deep, meaningful conversations, and other times we'll just have fun banter with each other. So honestly, just having a conversation with somebody that you don't necessarily feel pressurized into, communicating with is definitely a step up. Then some people like to take hot baths to relax. So I can't do that. My mom doesn't have a bath anymore. We put in a stand-up shower. But I do have a bath in my house personally where I live, but I do not like it because I have very bad memories associated with it. So basically, the last time we had baths was when I was a child, and I think I was like 13. Ever since this day, I cannot go for a bath. I have to shower. So me and my brother, we took turns going for a bath. So my brother went first. He got out of the bath, came downstairs, and he had a ginormous spider crawling up his back, and I was like, you know what? Nope, not doing it. So ever since then, I have not used the bath in my bathroom just because of that, because no. So unfortunately, baths isn't something I like to do, but showers are definitely a must. The next thing is to have some form of hydration. So staying hydrated definitely will help you improve your mood. So definitely do that. And then the last thing is to sleep. So some early nights. For me, I work night shifts, so I don't necessarily get to do that. But when I do go to sleep, I don't necessarily go to sleep like really early. I normally go to bed around like 1:30, 2 a.m. The latest is now like 2:30. I won't go anything past that. But getting yourself into a routine where you do certain things before bed so your body knows like, oh, this is the time where we're going to wind down will really help. Indulge yourself, so that could be anything from getting, certain like foods, like a nice chocolate cake or, a cookie or something. So finding something that you wouldn't necessarily have on a daily basis, but something that, is like a treat to yourself, definitely do that. Another one is emotional, so stress management. Finding things that can help de-stress yourself. So I definitely recommend ASMR. So something that I've figured out for myself is listening to ASMR for hairstyling, like hair brushing, that sort of thing. I find that very relaxing, so I will link 2 of the videos that I watch on a regular basis before I go to bed, which helps my mind just, sort of like flick off a little bit and just relax. And spiritual, so time alone where you could do like meditation, prayer, getting out in nature. It's a sacred place where it's just you and your head. Some people don't like that. I know personally sometimes I don't, but sometimes just stepping away from the world is very detoxifying and very helpful. Personal hobbies, creativity, and goals. So setting yourself a goal to achieve within a week or so will give you a sense of purpose, which will also help you maintain a better mind space. So like for me, I like card making, so I tend to try and plan out what I'm going to create. So I know I'm going to be in my creative space from Monday to Fridays at the same time from like 6 p.m. onwards. So I know that I have some time to do some creative thing, and having a plan of what I can go into my craft room and do definitely helps me stress less. And also all I have to do is like figure out what I want to use. So that does help. Now your space is also something. So finding a healthy environment where it's a clean, stable place. So when I was bullied at school, something that I figured out that worked well for me when I was struggling is because my mind was such a mess with everything going on around me, with the thoughts of like, oh, why are people calling me this? Why is this happening? coming home to a clean bedroom or a clean space just helps, because then your mind's not even messier with your surroundings. So I definitely recommend keeping your space clean and decluttered, because you'll find that just that little bit of extra takes the time away from, you know, not having to worry about what's going on inside your actual surroundings. Okay, financials. So saving, budgeting, money management, paying bills, boundaries. So I personally don't really give myself a budget. I do know like certain incomes and certain outgoings that are monthly. I don't have to worry about that, and then whatever I spend is not necessarily a bad thing, but it also isn't necessarily a necessity, and I know I don't have to do it and I can live without it. But obviously other people have more responsibilities, like a mortgage, all that sort of stuff, so obviously you just have to find what works for you. And then that's pretty much it. So I just think, you know, you can Google self-care. Watching other people do self-care also helps as well. I've noticed, like, just seeing somebody else take care of themselves makes me feel like, oh, you know what, maybe I should try that and see if it works for me, see if it helps. Because obviously we all have different mindsets, so something that works for me might not necessarily work for you. So, like, say for example, I use a hair product or a skin product, I would recommend it because obviously it works for me, but it's not necessarily going to work for somebody else like it would work for me. So, like, I gave my mom one of the face masks that I've been using because it's been really helping me. So it's called a Soothing Clay Mask by L'Oreal, and it's my favorite one. It helps me calm my skin down, it helps me feel calm in person, and it also gives me that self-care management. And I gave my mom this because I know she's a very stressed out person, and I also know her skin's very dried out and she needs that moisture. So I gave my mom that, but she never got the time to use it. And when I did it for her, I felt like I was pushing my personal self-care onto her, and it didn't work for her. If anything, it actually stressed her out more. So finding things that work for you may not necessarily work for somebody else, so just stick with self-care for yourself, but do look into what other people do for self-care, because you might find something you didn't know and you try and you love. But overall, I do recommend just, you know, taking the time for yourself, because you are totally important. There's the quote that I used to live by is, I can't help somebody if I'm not helping myself, where that basically means if I'm not personally in my right frame of mind, my mind space, I cannot be helpful to somebody else in any other situation because I'm clouded my own judgment. So that's something I live by. But yeah, I hope you guys found this helpful. Like I said, I will link the videos that I tend to listen to with your AMSMR. So some of them are hair routines, some of them are, you know, just listening to like rainfall, calming music. So I will link all those videos in my description for you, along with all the contact details for the anonymous helplines. But if you are struggling, please just reach out. You can even give me a message, you know, if I can help in any way, I will do that. And sometimes I find talking to a stranger about my problems is less worrying on my side than if I was to talk to somebody that knows me, you know, because it gives them that, I don't know, it makes me feel like I'm a burden to them because I'm pushing my issues onto them. And sometimes it can backfire. Like, this afternoon I found out, like, I don't know if you might have watched my last video, but my last video I talked about my story and, you know, being sexually abused growing up by 3 people in my family, and one of them that did that, I actually found out today that he got arrested and has been put in jail for 6 years. And in a way it gave me a sense of relief because he's finally getting what he deserves, although another side of me is feeling guilty about the fact that this has happened to another girl, and if I'd spoken up sooner, would it have changed the outcome? You know, would it have made him worse? Would it have made him better? You know, so there is that kind of weird thing going in my head at the moment, but, you know, I'm focusing on the positives. You know, he's gotten what he deserves, he's getting the help he needs, and the other girl that he did it to has got closure for it. But I know it's not that simple because trauma sticks with you, so I do wish her all the best. So I did get in contact with her about it, and you know, she came to me and she said, you know what, didn't know if I would be able to talk to anybody in his family, but talking with you and knowing that you experienced the same thing that I did with him, it makes me feel like I'm not entirely alone about it, and vice versa. So we are helping each other out in that aspect. So yeah, anyways, I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna insert some music for the last little bit of this video, but like I said, I will eventually link the products in my description. But like I said, I named everything, so you can just go and check them out. But I will see you guys in my next video, which I believe is Monday, and that is going to be my Spooky September theme 3 of the colors. I cannot remember off the top of my head because I have not even made that card, so I'm going to be making that card on Monday, and it's going to be edited and uploaded all on the same day. But otherwise, I will talk to you guys in my next one, and yeah, I hope you guys stay safe and do some self-care.